Okay, so now we actually wanted. Thank you. We wanted to kind of share more also lah about what we feel about Ridhwan's and Rinsing work. Maybe can start from me. Actually, for me, this interview video, it's a lot of our own interpretation of, I mean, me, Amirul, and Junyi. From our perspective, we are looking at Ridhwan and Rinsing. And there is one thing that I feel that I cannot entirely get is the artist perspective, as in 100% from artist perspective. It's because if we want to get that, that means the artists themselves should make the film. But because it's done in as an interview, so I guess it's like an outsider lah, looking at people who are actually working on site. So the thing that I asked Amirul to capture, especially for Rensing, because he has never been to the Section 19 neighborhood. So to him is literally entering a new space, and just like how Rensing entered a new space in 2017, but because different brain has different perception and different body and also different experience. So what Amirul is capturing, it's also what he is experiencing there lah, during these 3 months. So the process started in November last year. Yeah. And on and off, we have been going back to the site lah. So as for Ridhwan, at first we wanted to highlight that he did a lot of different kind of medium of works, but also realized maybe you can catch up on that on their own website, because Ridhwan, on the opposite, he had made many different works, but he also tried to document them very well in their own website, mochamochainc.com. So that's the different aspect that of another side of practice that I'm also interested in lah. But anyway, you guys have any things to share after watching the video?
Can I say something?
Can.
It's May here. Something that Ridhwan's mentioned or talk about ideas and where do ideas come from. Bak, you know that guy, Bak Hassan?
Mm-hmm.
Like our national treasure, that dude. He said the same thing also, actually, about ilham and ideas. Not in the exact words, but along the same thought. Question to Ren Xin. Hi, Ren Xin.
Hey.
Why is your video? Why did it not switch on the anti-shake?
I think that question is for Amirul.
I got seasick.
Amirul? Actually, Amirul can answer that lah.
Pasal anti-shade anti-shade saya letak sebab saya buat satu sebab masa saya shoot dekat sana, dia masa pandemik tak ada orang, so saya rasa shaking tu macam tak perlu. tak bagi work untuk saya untuk record. So saya rasa saya perlukan sesuatu yang untuk ada movement macam dancing, tapi dia macam satu nak menari tapi tak boleh sebab tak ada interaction. Itu bagi saya.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Right.
Can I say something, Marion, here? Yeah?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, sorry. One is a comment and one is a question. My comment is a general comment on site-specific work, especially in the world of dance. You know, maybe theater, you know, is different, but it's just a comment that in the world of dance, there is a lot of misunderstanding of what is site-specific work. And a lot of the time, dancers make the work in the studio, and then they go and perform in the LRT station and say this is site-specific work, and it's not. I mean, we all know that this, you know, as Ridhwan, you know, very clearly explained, this site-specific work really has to take the site, the elements of the site, the smell of the site, the feeling of the site to make the work. And once then the work is performed in the site, and when the work is taken out of the site and performed on stage or in the studio, it should not work. It cannot work. It has to fail, or it has to change drastically. So, you know, if you perform in a sungai and then you go and do the same movements on stage, it cannot work. So I just feel very frustrated in the dance world where people do work which is not site-specific work and they call it site-specific work. Okay, that's the teacher in me. Sorry for giving a bit of lecture. Ren Xin, I want to ask, okay, so when you go into the flats, although it's in your neighborhood, it is still, you know, a different setting in terms of the type of houses, you know, because it's flats. It's a different class of people, and it's a different, their lifestyle is different, and so on and so forth. So it is in your neighborhood, but yet it is not your world of living. So do you feel that when you are observing things in that neighborhood, in those flats, there is a kind of a exotic kind of gaze that's going on? And if there is, then how do you deal with that kind, you know, the kind of graffiti and things? Then there is a particular gaze that's coming from you because you are an outsider. And I'm just wondering whether you think about that and whether there's a bit of exoticization of looking at this space. Yeah.
So thanks, Marian. In the very beginning, I definitely think about this. It's a lot in my head. So I think what over time happened is that I just spend time in the place, and like once I start spending time in the place, eating there or just hanging out and doing my own practice, it brings up conversation, and so slowly I just know people as people who know people. So I refer to. So I think no, what I'm trying to say is over time it's like personal relationship more. So maybe in this video it doesn't really show that, but for me, my relationship with them is more someone who lives close by first, and then secondary is they know what I can do. So sometimes they ask for, can we do this? Can we do that together? In the beginning, I think I felt like I questioned myself, am I exotifying or romanticizing when I was journaling a lot in the first year before I spent time on this focus site. In fact, at one point I stopped journaling because I felt whatever I'm writing is like influencing me going back to being in that space. So, but I think over time also, I sort of let go of this this care very over cautiousness, because at the same time they are all very different people in their own way. So I don't really see them as them, but like as Farah, as Bicha, as Opal, as someone. So something like this.
Thank you.
Actually, I also feel like, because the visual that we see just now is actually Amirul's eye. It's not Ren Xin's eye, actually. So maybe
Obviously not her eyes. She's walking in front of the camera.
yeah.
Yeah, the eye of the camera is very, very, very different from, I mean, it has its own world. The eye of the camera and the eye of the cameraman is a entire choreographic journey of its own that actually has nothing to do with Ren Xin and her work. Not nothing to do lah, but you know what I mean, yeah.
But on that note, right, like Ren Xin, I picked up what you mentioned about the gender differences, that somehow it's not in favor of the girls or the woman, even as a married woman, right, as an adult woman. But your camera guy is a man with his male gaze. So, so I'm just like thinking aloud. I'm just curious, like how much of his male gaze was censored when you go through the footages, yeah, at the editing stage.
Actually, I'm not involved in making this video
What?
at all, besides my interview. Besides my talking.
Ren Xin hanya suara.
Sorry.
Sorry.
No, Ren Xin, carry on.
No, I was just gonna say, Peixian, I don't know if the thing is on the website yet, but I did make one from my point of view. Is it on, Peixian?
Yes, it's on website already.
So maybe
Sure,
if you're
and-
interested, you can see from me point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a very important, sorry, I'll put my phone on silent. It's a very important point, like in Aswara, so we have our shows videoed, right? And the cameraman, I guess they get bored lah, you know, because they got to video the whole show. And we just want like, okay, just video the thing. We just want to see the dancers. But no, they will go like up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And they will focus on strange things. Like they will if the dancer is beautiful, if they think the dancer, then they'll focus on the face. Then you can't see the dance at all. Or if the tangan of the dancer is like, wow, super cantik, like that, and they just focus on the tangan. Or if they're gatal, they focus on other parts of the body, which I won't mention because this is being recorded. So it's, yeah, so akhirnya you get sometimes you get very little of the dance. You get very little of the dance.
But maybe if I just add something from what May said and what Marion asked earlier. So the thing about the gender, it was a quite early on feeling that I had, but actually over time, I'm not so attached to that feeling anymore, because over time, I do see other facades of this place. So I think it still is, there is still the quite different gendered space in public in this place. However, it's not so simple as how to say that? Like everyone has their own reason for why they're not in the public space. And sometimes it is related to gender and sometimes it isn't. And at other times there are women outdoors too. So I think what I mean is it's very hard to make one statement about one place. Although I think in interview I did that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we are overburdened lah by all these things. Gaze lah, male gaze lah, exotic gaze lah, gender. I think sometimes we must just lepas and do and just follow the truth of your art, you know, the truth of your heart and the truth of your art. Because the burden of all this, is it site specific? Is it not? Is it, you know, I mean, I think, you know, as thinking artists, we need to think about these things, but at the same time, we need to lepas je lah, lepas je, because as an artist, you have a truth. We all have a truth. And if we can trust that truth, yeah, just let it flow.
Actually, what does Ridhwan feel? I'm curious.
Bila tengok video ni sebab saya first time tengok lah, maknanya saya tak join proses. Tapi nak surprise jugalah, maknanya yang menariknya because kalau sedikit konteks macam mana video ni terhasil, kita ada 3 meeting. So satu meeting pertama dengan pasien, Amirul dengan Junyi. Okay, ada satu, saya membebel je dengan ada 3 orang presence. Kemudian ada lagi satu session dekat KL tu, ada pasien dengan Amirul. Okay, satu lagi session tapi dengan 2 orang ni. Kemudian ada lagi satu session dengan Amirul je satu malam tu dekat tepi jalan. Jadi maknanya saya bila video ni ditayangkan, saya cuba nak tengok apa yang keluar lah. Jadi sebenarnya dia macam ni, sebenarnya saya pun sendiri tak dapat detect yang mana-mana sebab dia tak ada cue. Sebab usually dalam dokumentari atau interview kan macam kadang-kadang ada talking head sikit untuk macam bagi sing di mana orang tu cakap. Tapi dalam ni saya sendiri tak tahu saya cakap kat mana setiap line tu. Jadi itu saya menarik yang saya rasa perasaannya lah. Dan dekat sini juga tapi betul juga gaze bukan gaze, maknanya visually atau Amirul punya sentuhan tu rasa besar juga dalam ni sebab yang bercakap tu saya, tapi sebenarnya gambar-gambar tu ia buat macam saya lebih kenal Amirul macam tu. Dan ya, tentang alam tu lah, landscape. Sebab kalau dari segi image, kalau saya sebagai filmmaker, saya suka wajah. Sebab bagi saya landscape terindah adalah wajah manusia. Tapi Amirul dia berbeza, dia berlawan. Dia macam, dia pernah cerita kat saya dia tak suka manusia sangat. Jadi saya macam, bila saya tengok video ni saya rasa macam mana manusia, ataupun mungkin time tu pandemik, tapi banyak benda-benda yang macam nature yang macam mana kata, benda-benda yang halus lah, macam detail-detail. Jadi dengan video ni sebenarnya bukan saya nak tahu sangat pasal diri saya, tapi saya dapat kenal cara kamera tu merakam.
Ya,
Dua-dua video pun tak banyak manusia. Memang Amirul tak suka manusia lah. Amirul suka alam semula jadi je. Or flats atau
not really.
Memang dalam 2 video, dalam Ridhwan's video only Ridhwan manusia. In Ren Xin's video, kalau ada manusia dari kamera dari jauh, manusia kecil je. Yang pakcik 2 itu dengan fishing jauh. So interesting. Eye of the camera very interesting also. Amirul, pasal apa you tak suka manusia?
Betul lah, saya bukan tak suka manusia. Saya anggap manusia saya berjumpa hari-hari. So saya tak suka dia berada dalam frame saya. Sebab dia boleh nampak, boleh bertemu, kita boleh berjumpa, boleh berborak. Kenapa saya perlu merakam dia? Sebab alam kita tak boleh bercakap. Alam kita kena ada emosi, feeling, baru boleh kita connect dengan alam. Tak ada emosi, kita tak boleh tahu apa itu alam. Kita just, okay, kita boleh hancurkan alam ini buat bangunan. Kalau
alam ada emosi lah.
Tapi
mana alam tak ada emosi? Alam ada banyak emosi.
Tapi emosi tu kena create dengan individu kan. Siapa individu? Siapa dia? Siapa? Ya. Connection tu kena. Bila
matahari terbit, bila matahari turun, banyak emosi kan?
Ya, tapi
Dan full moon, half moon, wah.
Sorry, I have to
Penuh
cut you
dengan
guys
emosi.
here. Actually, do you guys feel the sight? Whereas in either Ridhwan's Shah Alam or either Ridhwan's KL or either Ren Xin's Section 19. So I think Amirul's main task is to capture the spirit of sight, but of course it's through his camera because he cannot replicate what the artists are seeing in their eye. Because if we want to see what the artists themselves are seeing, we would go to watch their work. So I think Amirul's role here is to kind of to capture it because like to imagine it in the exhibition context, you are all inside this Gongsi KL box and you can't really see what's happening with Ren Xin and Ridhwan's side, except from the work. So his job is actually to try to let you feel it lah. Yeah, but I just wonder, did it achieve? So that's why it was.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
sorry. So that's why it was less human head also, but more of the space, but space as in what Amirul can feel there. Yeah.
I didn't know that
and I
he's the
think-
same guy shooting Ridhwan video, so it looks so different. I think my response to Patient's question, a quick one, will be I think I feel more sighty with Ridhwan segment rather than Ren Xin because don't know why, somehow it feels different. Yeah, that's my take.
I think walaupun it's a kind of like a collaboration, right, between Amirul, Ren Xin and Ridhwan. But I think in this case, Amirul is the artist. Meaning Amirul atas triangle lah. Amirul yang ada kuasa. Lebih kuasa daripada Ren Xin dan Ridhwan. Because he's making the decisions. And the kononnya, the artists, are not directing him. Jadi Amirul, angle power, betul. Jadi Amirul ataslah menjadi artis yang utama, and then the collaborators are Ren Xin and Ridhwan. Walaupun, this is very interesting for me, because walaupun the project is Ren Xin's and Ridhwan's, tapi Amirul dah menguasai dan dah menang. You menang lah Amirul. You menang lah, you menang.
tak, saya seorang Malaysia biasa.
Tapi mungkin saya boleh share juga macam dalam video making, memang itulah sebab dalam filem kan dia ada cinematography dengan editing, tapi dua tu memang power yang besar. Sebab Amirul memang betul-betul itu kita dapat visually dia punya gaze, dan juga editing tu maknanya memang dia ada, betul lah, memang ada power. Setiap line yang kita cakap berjam-jam ni, 3-4 jam, tapi yang muncul dalam 20 minit ni adalah pilihan siapa pilih?
Patient pilih.
Okay, jadi maknanya ada
Audio passion.
audio passion. Okay, macam tu.
Very visual.
Okay.
Fascinating.
But then there is also another editing that was going on, which Judy is doing, because the amount of interview that we can put in video and the amount of interview we can put in the writing is kind of different, or what can we put in each form. So this video has to be a bit more focused, slightly more focused, but Judy's writing has captured more of their interviews lah, I would say. But we will share the link later. But Judy's zine, is it uploaded yet? Maybe not. You can.
Also, the sound for Ridhwan's was fine, but for Ren Xin's, the sound, at least on my computer here, I found it very difficult.
Yeah.
So maybe, okay, so now I'm going really crazy. So Amirul purposely tak buat sound elok-elok untuk Ren Xin. Pasal Ren Xin wanita, betul ke?
Bukan. Saya sebenarnya kenapa saya letak, saya sebenarnya saya amat menyanjungi wanita. Saya anggap wanita itu adalah dia sebab mother nature bagi saya.
I'm joking.
So saya tak suka dia loud. Saya tak suka dia tinggikan suara sebab alam tak pernah tinggikan suara. Mother nature tak pernah hancurkan saya anggap perempuan itu adalah mother nature. So saya rasa dia perlu sopan santun. Bagi saya lah.
Tapi Ridhwan punya video kita boleh
Jap,
dengar
jap, jap.
kita boleh dengar semua yang Ridhwan
Sorry.
kata.
This must be the
Everything.
sound recordist problem because the sound recordist was me. So actually we wanted to look for an audio guy to help to balance the audio, but then we haven't reached that point yet lah.
Audio lelaki atau perempuan?
I mean, it has to be sort of balanced, right, on the software.
Tak. Maksud saya, the audio person is a male or female?
It was me. Perempuan.
Ya, passion.
Yeah. Jap. I want to bring back to the focus of the conversation. So it's actually, I think the point of selecting them both also, they have to me it's different approach in dealing with sites. Yeah. Do anyone have any questions in relation to that?
Sorry, come again. Questions relating to what?
Oh, okay. As in, the point of why Ridhwan and Ren Xin were selected. Actually, they are both performance maker, but their relationship with their site is actually sort of different. For me lah, it's different.
Yeah, actually, it did cross my mind. Like, how did the pairing come about?
Actually, it was just I actually like their work personally. Like Ridhwan's work, you can sense the space is very strong in his play. In film, of course, we already need a site, but just that what is his context of making film? And then for Ren Xin, we know that when she dances, she wants to try to acknowledge the site in a way. But then this project is her non-dance project, so I think it's a contrast, like a performance way of how you understand a site, respecting a site, and to make a performance that it's blend into the site. And on the other side is you don't perform, but you walk into the real site and see what do they need before you make something.
Not so much what do they need. If anything, is what I need. I never feel that they need anything from me. But I think for me, what it was I want to look for what is already there. Is there dance there, and what kind of dance happens there? Who dances there? Who and how do they dance? And what does dance mean for them? That was, I think, sort of the main thing for me, to look for what is dance in this place.
Saya tu mungkin nak share yang tentang macam video yang kita tengok ni, macam audio visualnya output dari kita punya pertemuan. Tapi Juni ada buat yang zine tu, maknanya Juni lebih capture yang writings lah kan, maknanya dalam bentuk writings pula kan output dia. Yang tu pun macam menarik sebab saya dapat baca juga the zine, dan memang dah lepas tengok yang audio visual itu memang maknanya Juni ada gaze lain cara capture through writings, dan bila saya baca memang rasa macam graphic novel sikit kalau ada grafik lah, tapi ada sedikit grafik. Tapi dia ada satu feeling lain. Jadi menarik, itulah yang saya menarik sebab saya dah dapat baca through literature melalui Juni, ada satu perspektif, ada satu landscape. Kemudian yang hari ni audiovisual mungkin combo audiovisual passion dengan Amirul. Tapi itulah, tapi memang selalunya kan kalau kita perceive dunia kan mata lagi dominan kan berbanding hearing, sebab orang kadang-kadang tak listen sangat. Jadi sebab tu saya rasa betul lah juga macam Amirul lebih kuat sikit sebab dia pegang image sebab sound passion. Jadi tapi yang menarik dia ada spektrum tu lah, ada literature juga sebenarnya.
Boleh bagi sneak peek actually. I scroll cepat-cepat sebab later you're gonna take time to read. How to open Oh, it's here. Yeah, actually Junyi added in the collage that she likes to do. And then this is how Junyi see Ridhwan's work, which we will upload later to the exhibition online. Yeah. Actually, maybe Junyi also can say something because she also first time seeing Amirul's.
Nothing much. Actually, I just feel that my perspective is very different from Amirul's perspective. Actually, I'm more interested to learn what Ridhwan's and Rensin's thought is about. Like, what do they think of our view of on them?
The audience view on Ren Xin and Ridhwan?
No, actually, it's like more on the Ridhwan's and Rensin's view, because they said something one day and then we go back and then we process all that information and make it into different works. So they're like looking at themselves through the lens of other people. So maybe it's more interesting for them to share their thoughts now that they learn what is it like to be Ridhwan from the perspective of another person.
Yeah. Ridhwan.
Ya, ada.
Junyi tanya soalan.
Maknanya
Jawapan.
tentang perspektif dari other person. Memang bila saya approach projek ni memang saya memang berserah sebab bagi saya kena tahu siapa yang bukanlah in control sebab saya writer juga novelist sebab macam saya share juga dalam interview ni bila saya seorang novelist saya memang betul-betul in control hampir banyak benda sebab memang saya writing saya control tapi bila saya buat teater because kita kena collaborate dengan orang atau filem saya kena ada sedikit space untuk terbuka tu maknanya ada conversation ada perbincangan dan dalam projek ni memang saya betul-betul berserah sebab saya datang saya tahu saya punya niat setiap kali kita bertemu saya kena membebel je. Maksudnya saya tak peduli apa yang akan di-capture tapi saya tahu saya just membebel nanti pandai-pandailah Amirul ke Passion pilih audio visual. So bagi saya benda ni saya belajar dari teater juga sebab tentang trust lah, tentang kepercayaan sebab kalau dalam literature dan dalam filem mungkin kurang tapi dalam teater sebenarnya bagi saya bukan apa sebab dia pertembungan sekumpulan orang duduk bersama nak rehearsal 3 bulan, 6 bulan. Jadi kita kena betul-betul saling percaya sebab antara benda yang saya paling takut bila buat teater masa awal-awal lah. Sebab ini pun kawan-kawan orang lain yang cerita, kawan-kawan teater saya cerita. Dia bila buat show, tiba-tiba orang tu tak muncul hari performance. Dan selalunya yang kawan saya tu pun selalunya boleh berlakon juga jadi boleh ganti. Tapi saya tak tahu apa. Jadi itu yang benda paling saya takut sepanjang saya buat teater. Jadi bila saya buat teater selama 2-3 tahun, saya rasa trust atau kepercayaan tu penting. Jadi dalam projek ni saya just itu saya punya attitude lah. Kalau saya buat work saya kena percayakan diri saya. Tapi kalau saya collaborate dengan orang, saya kena percayakan orang juga. Jadi macam tu lah.
I feel that as well. Actually, when I was doing the zine, I sent the zine to Ridhwan like towards the end of maybe a few days before the opening of the Situ exhibition. And then I know Ridhwan wouldn't have a lot of time to change whatever that is he feels that is wrong in the zine. And I feel like I'm sort of putting pressure on Ridhwan and Ren Xin to accept what I'm writing. So maybe that is also what I feel doing this project lah. Maybe Ren Xin, you can share your thoughts.
I think what occurred to me was that every time I try to talk about the work off the site, it feels very, I don't understand it. But because like when I'm on the site, I'm finding what I'm doing with folks on site, like what we want to do today, what I find to do together with somebody. So when I'm trying to talk about the work to someone who is not there, maybe it becomes me rationalizing why I don't know, but I don't know. I'm not sure where am I going with this, but I did tell patient that every time I try to bring the work off the site, I don't really understand how and why.
But actually, I enjoyed the process of speaking with both Ridhwan and Ren Xin. This is from my own perspective. Before I did this interview with the both of them, I actually feel that, a lot of artists like to use the word site specific, and they they use it as if it's like a genre to their work. And am I supposed to is it a compliment? I always think that way. So after meeting with Ren Xin and Ridhwan to talk about site specificity, I actually feel that, actually it's more of an attitude of being knowing that you're small and there are things that you couldn't control when you're creating works, that is more important than whatever it is. You just call it site specific because you're not creating work inside a conventional space. So regarding the trust part, I also feel very honored to be able to do this interview with the both of them, because I really feel that they trust both me and Amirul to shed this kind of light on them. Yeah.
I think visually the choice of the two artists is very interesting, and in just watching the video, okay, I know Ren Xin's work better because I've been following it from 17, but just looking at the videos, just based on the two videos, the contrast between the two is very interesting, because Ridhwan's is really nature, trees, wind, sunlight, sungai, or lake, or whatever it is, and he is located in that that nature. And Ren Xin is concrete jungle, concrete jungle, concrete jungle, and bikes and cars and biryani shop and whatever. So visually the contrast is very interesting, it's very fascinating. And to put those two together in one event like this, for me is yeah, it makes you think about that kind of contrast.
Actually, why it was more nature in Ridwan's one is he mentioned it in his interview about Bukit Cheraka being his place of residence for about 10 years. So a lot of his work indirectly also come from that place.
Wong Kar-wai, there's a Wong Kar-wai festival going on now, I think. Free online movie. No, is it Wong Kar-wai? I think so. Free online for a while, right? Anyway, that's beside the point.
Okay. If does anybody has any questions or comment to add, or from the documentation team or artists?
Thank you. It was wonderful and a very stimulating Friday night.
Wait.
Bravo.
Okay. Before we finish, we haven't finished. Wait, I need to show you some links, important links, so that you can catch up on Ren Xin and Ridwan's own work finally after watching this 44 minutes of video that is not their work. I hope you are curious about their work. Okay. I'm sharing a screen. There are 2 QR codes here, but there are also URL, which we'll be pasting on the chat box later. So that's the online version of this Situ and exhibition, and also a questionnaire. We hope everybody can also take some time to fill up the Japan Foundation KL's questionnaire. You may have filled it before, don't worry, you can fill it again. So there is also some iklan that is on the Saturday and Sunday, which is tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. We have 2 more conversations going on. The first conversation here is about art initiative or practitioners that started at different time different contexts at different cities in Asia. So there's Zulu from Yokohama, Chunfeng from Hong Kong, and also Junyi herself from Sunny Tiga, and is moderated by Saobin. And then conversation 3 is our own reflection from the site A artists, Sun Yong and Novia, and myself, of working on site, and it will be moderated by Andrew. So also this Situ exhibition is part of the Curatorial Workshop that is organized by the Japan Foundation. And at the same time, we have another recipient, Rebecca Yo, which her exhibition is ongoing at Tuperak. And you can check out both of the schedule at Japan Foundation's official website. Yeah, so thank you for joining us di sini. I hope it reminds you of your connection with your place. And good night.